good afternoon or morning or wherever you're watching this video at. My name is Samael Musgrove, and today we're going to be doing a UI and UX design day. And just for little clarifications, we're not building a whole entire app, we're not building a whole entire website or anything. That's going to take a long time. So we're just going to focus on today, we're just going to focus on a landing or hero page. If you don't know what that means, it means just essentially the first page that you log on to. Like as soon as somebody goes to your website, it's the first thing they see. And I think that's a very important, design to practice because it teaches you a lot about how to hook somebody's attention and how to keep them on your website for a lot more longer. Good hero pages and landing pages really do promote a lot of success. So just little disclaimers before we start off. I'm no expert or anything like that. Been doing UI and UX design for about 3 to 4 months. About to get my certification in UI UX design. And I've worked on about 2 to 3 clients so far. And so I do have a little bit of experience already when it comes to actually working with clients. So hopefully I can give some pointers, but also with me being still kind of a beginner, if I'm doing something wrong or if you see something I can improve upon, just comment, tell me what I'm doing wrong. And so hopefully I can improve my skill set. So, okay, let's just jump right into it and everything. So you're probably asking, what is this? What is the preparation? What are these 3 questions right here, right? So I asked ChatGPT give me a project brief of, a hypothetical client who needs a new UI and UX design for their mobile app, right? And so essentially ChatGPT, of course, being ChatGPT, gave me this very detailed brief. It's really detailed and very lovely. 9 times out of 10, though, most clients are not going to give you a detailed brief like this. Most clients are probably just going to come to you and be like, yo, I got this like cool like app idea or whatever or something. And then they'll probably send you like maybe 1 or 2 pictures of some other websites that they've seen and want their website to look like that. So essentially the whole portion of project briefing, right? It's like the first step when you first talk with the client, right? And it's really the most essential step in the process, if I'm telling you the truth, at least from my experience. And the reason why I wrote preparation, and I know I probably spelled preparation wrong. I think that's how you spell it. I don't know. I'm dumb. But the reason I wrote preparation is because it's the most important aspect in UI and UX design. I would say 75% of UI and UX design is preparation. Like the last 25% is actually being on Figma or Adobe XD, whichever one that you use, actually designing it and laying it out and everything like that. So preparation is very big, right? It's very, very big. And if you have a very good understanding of what your client wants and what they sort of need, then you're going to be better off. Now, there's some other steps in the process that I'm not going to do today. I may do it later or something like that, like mood boards, site mapping, content mapping, and everything like that. We're not going to do that today because that's just too much of a pain in the ass to do just for something very simple that we're doing right now. The only thing I really want to sort of shoot at and focus on is potentially just doing, the landing page or the hero page, right? That's the only thing I want to focus on. So essentially, I'm gonna explain these questions right here. So what is it for? Who is it for? Where does it live? These 3 questions are actually pretty good use cases for any client, right? These 3 questions, even if you have sort of a stubborn client who just doesn't know what they're talking about or doesn't know what they want, these 3 questions will probably save you. So what is it for? So like essentially the what is it for is like asking, so what is the product? What is, this person trying to sell on their website? What are they trying to use this website for, your design for, right? And who is it for is pretty much like the demographic that they're trying to shoot for. So like one of the clients I had wanted, a drop shipping website. Drop shipping is the craze nowadays and everything. And so he essentially was telling me he wanted to drop ship and everything. And at first, he had no idea what drop shipping was or how to do it. I have a little experience like a couple years back when I was one of those little fanboys or bandwagoners and I wanted to do drop shipping, and I was like, oh yeah. So I explained it to a little bit and stuff like that, and essentially we narrowed it down because he wanted to sell everything on the earth, right? He wanted to sell refrigerators, DVDs, he wanted to sell clothes, he wanted to be a Walmart, for fuck's sakes, so I told him, narrow down your category of what you're selling. So we narrowed it down to like just toys, right? So I already got the first thing, figured out. What is it for? So toys, fun, entertainment. He wanted to also resell some board games as well. So the what is it for, already I got that pretty much like just checked off the list right there. And the who is it for? Well, we can already assume, based off just selling the toys and the board games, we can more assume that the target demographic may be for kids, may be for, parties, or, just people who are looking for entertainment. So the who is it for, we essentially have that checked out, right? And now, where does it live? This is a weird question that a lot of people might not understand, but where does it live is essentially like, where is the predominant audience going to be viewing your website? So where does it live? Is it going to be on your computer? Is it going to be like a desktop application, or are more people going to be viewing your website through a mobile application, right? Or, on their phone. So essentially, if you can figure out where essentially most of your target demographic is going to be viewing this website and where your website is going to live, you can better, design around that. So if we know like we're building a mobile app, a website that's going to be predominantly used on like an iPhone or Android, we can design our whole entire application around that. And of course, maybe make some tweaks or whatever. Like, let's say maybe the person wants accessibility for desktop users, so we can also make a version of the desktop version as well, just in case, if they really want, somebody to actually, be on the desktop. So essentially, I'm going to ask ChatGPT, what is it for? Hopefully it responds pretty good. So the what is it for? The project brief I provided is a UI UX redesign of a mobile app. The client is a mobile app development company that wants to improve the user experiences of their app by creating a fresh and modern design that aligns with the brand values. So another question, like if this was an actual client and they're saying like we want it to align with our brand values, but they don't say it, ask them what the brand value is. So what is your brand values? And of course it's fucking ChatGPT, so it's probably not, going to answer it fully right away. But theoretically, if this was a real client, I would ask them, what is your brand values? What target audience are you trying to allude for? What do you want them to feel when they look at your website and everything? So we're sort of going on like a whim here because, ChatGPT didn't necessarily give me a very good use case right here, right? ChatGPT just kind of gave me a very like, redundant sort of, just very simple kind of plain brief here, even though it was very detailed. Yeah, it's kind of plain and we don't really have a lot to go off of. So I'm just going to make up what it is for. So we just heard that it was a mobile app development company. So this is a company that develops apps, right? So what is it for? So it's a development company, and I'm writing with my mouse, so I apologize if the handwriting is bad, right? And so we have the what is it for. Now, who is it for? Now we can assume this this might be for, let's say, business owners or entrepreneurs, right? So, because if we think about somebody who wants to develop an app, if we think about somebody who wants to, have their own app or something like that, we're thinking maybe it's somebody who may want to start a business. We're thinking of somebody who wants to make their own business or something. So we're thinking of entrepreneurs. We're thinking of small business owners. We're thinking of, all these various business people, right? So we're just going to put, entrepreneur. I'm just going to spell entre because I'm writing with my mouse. I can't really write out a lot. I could just do the text, but it's just too much work for me. And so where does it live? And that's pretty simple, as we know, like, hey, it's a mobile app development company, so it lives on mobile, right? It lives there. So now that we got these three things, I'm actually kind of considering doing a mood board to tell you the truth, because yeah, I think we might do a mood board, right? Um, we might. I don't know. I want to keep the video short, so yeah, we'll just stay with like sort of we'll just stay with this what we have right now, and just try to and that's also a little bit of a better challenge for myself. We can, just try to think of it on the fly as we go. So after I sort of, figure that out, now of course I'm skipping over a lot of steps, because then comes the mood boarding, site mapping, content mappings, stuff like that, paper prototypes and stuff and everything. I'm skipping just straight into wireframing, skipping straight into just laying things out, trying to figure it out and everything like that. So with wireframing, I don't really like spend too much time in it, so to say, or whatever. I like to literally just like throw down a bunch of shapes here, whatever. Um, Literally just throw down shapes and what have you not. I think I remember how to do this. I hope I do. Um, where is it? Can I feel it? There we go. Okay. So yeah, we're just throwing down a bunch of shapes right now. There really is no rhyme or reason. There is no like, oh yeah, I'm wanting to put these rectangles here for a reason or whatever. No, it's just literally just trying to go off a whim and trying to figure out what we're going to be doing. Because when I just throw down shapes like this, I sort of, the gears in my head start turning. I can sort of see sort of like a way of what a design may look like or whatever. We're just going to put mobile development company here. I'm just going to increase the size of that, just get some text down. Just try to figure out sort of like what made the layout look like. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get, faster and more better at it and everything. So if you don't move fast when it comes to wireframing, don't feel too bad. It's nothing to really be sad about or whatever. I got a little sample logo here, and we could just throw down, kind of just see what it may look like a little bit. I can go into here and just quickly take a hamburger menu, so we can have sort of a little gist of some icons here, see what that looks like a little bit. And so yeah, with wireframing, I don't like to spend too much time with it. It's just like really just going in there, just trying to figure out like what will it essentially potentially maybe look like. So there's not really too much thought process going into it, just throwing things down, just trying to figure things out and everything like that. I can ask ChatGPT, make a headline for a mobile development company, and ChatGPT can also give me a headline right here. So transforming your vision into seamless mobile experiences. That's actually pretty good, not gonna lie. So we're just going to put that in here. I may move or kind of like change the way this looks, maybe put like a little indent into it so we can kind of condense it a little bit. So we got one little wireframe sort of just knocked out right here. So this one right here, we're going to move into just sort of evaluating on sort of this right here. So maybe just put a little bit of shapes here, just kind of like just tone that down a little bit, you know. Like I said, there's real no like thought process right now. It's just throwing down whatever I could throw down, kind of just like, you know, getting inspired a little bit by, you know, just really just kind of just doing it, you know. And that's sort of really the name of the game is, you know, there really is no, like, when you first start off, you kind of, that's like the hardest part is you're looking for inspiration. Like, you don't know essentially like what to do or how to do it or whatever. So that's like the hardest part right there. Is trying to figure out your inspiration and everything like that. And so we're just gonna put this. We can sort of maybe have this as like, you know, sort of like a little fun little way of, I don't know, like pointing at something or something rather. So if we just put that there, I'm just going to move that down here, let's move that here. Or, you know, another thing that we can do is just also have like the logo front and center right here. We can have this just like kind of just showing off right there and everything. So already we sort of have like these 3 wireframes that we can kind of go off of just a little bit. It's not like perfect, and wireframing isn't necessarily supposed to be perfect. This is not where you're supposed to be spending a large majority of your time on. Your biggest time consumption is preparation, right? And so the wireframing process is just laying things out, you know. And if you don't necessarily know what wireframe is or don't really understand it, the best way that I could describe it is like, you know, let's say you're pouring cement into, you know, a little pothole or whatever, trying to fix it. Well, you don't necessarily, if you want to do it right, so to say, you don't necessarily just mix and make the cement and everything and then just throw it down into the pothole, because you may not have enough cement. You may have more cement and overflow the pothole. So essentially you want to measure it out. You want to sort of lay out, okay, how large is the pothole? How much volume of cement do I need to pour into the pothole to make it perfect and everything? And so essentially that's what wireframing is. It's laying all your elements down, sort of laying out the general like website itself. So when you actually go into designing and actually go into, you know, making things actually look pretty, giving it color and everything else, then, you know, it's going to be a lot more easier because you could just reference to one of these wireframes or whichever wireframe that the client approves of, and, you know, just go off of that. And so essentially that's what wireframing is. Just very simple. Just throwing things around, you know, trying to put things in and everything like that. I'm actually thinking of a different design for like this. So we could have like, honestly, like a phone here. Like this little thing could represent like an iPhone right here. And this could be like showing the iPhone itself or whatever. And so I kind of feel confident with these wireframes. Of course, it's heavily dependent on what your client approves, because once you send over these wireframes and everything, or at least this is how it went with my last couple of clients, is when I send over the wireframes, I essentially waited for them to sort of give me the go ahead for whichever one that they chose, whichever one that they liked the best. And so whichever one they like the best is the one that you're going to sort of design and come up with and everything like that. So let's just say for use case or whatever, I'm trying to think. Let's just say that they wanted to approve the middle one right here. So this middle wireframe is essentially, we have, you know, the middle wireframe of the just general like hero page. So mobile development company, transforming your vision into seamless mobile experiences. And then, you know, this little rectangle right here that's at a 50-degree angle can sort of represent an iPhone, so to say, or like, you know, maybe just like an iPhone 4. I mean, I said 4. Wow, that's an old iPhone right there. iPhone 14 is what I meant to say. And so we can go ahead and start, you know, like the client approves this. So we can go ahead and start, you know, making that right now. Actually, let me just go ahead and copy that. So now that we have the wireframe approved, theoretically, we can go ahead. So I can look for like, you know, an iPhone 14. I just always put transparent background because, you know, there's a lot of iPhone 14 pictures out there and everything that, you know, have backgrounds and everything like that. So we can just go in here, you know, sort of look for like some good pictures we can sort of pick out and try to use. I'm maybe thinking about this one. This one looks kind of clean, and it has a little bit of coloring on it. I see like a little color palette of like, you know, just some light purple, pinkish, blue, sort of like colorway here and everything. So we can just go ahead and put that in here. I'll size it down just a little bit and put that at a 50-degree angle like we had. I wish, because I mean, I know you can, like, one of also the biggest things too is like before you design, you want to like also go into like either Photoshop, XD, Illustrator, whatever you're using, whatever you're comfortable with, and go in here and, you know, sort of like really take your assets into sort of a different level and everything and design it a little bit better. My wife was texting me, I'm sorry. So, okay, we're going to essentially trying to figure things out here real quick. One of the biggest things about designing as well, that I've found the most successful for clients is you want to mix, you know, stylization and simplicity. Like, you don't want your website to be too overcomplicated, like when it comes to how you style your website. You don't want that. But also too, you don't want your website to be boring. You know, like when somebody comes to your website, they want to see like, you know, some sort of character to it. They don't just want to come to a boring fucking website, you know. They don't just want to fucking, you know, see just, you know, just crap, you know. So I'm thinking here, I forget if Figma has a gradient tool, because I was thinking of doing, you know, a gradient, so to say. They might not have that, I don't know. So we might have to stick with potentially just one color. And so I'm thinking of this pink because it's, you know, sort of a out open, you know, colorway that's also on the screen of this iPhone that we're using for, you know, our page here and everything. I'm thinking, you know, maybe throw in just a little bit of some elements here just to kind of make it pop out a little bit. You know, I don't want it to be just too bland. I do want to kind of shoot for, you know, very simple design, but still, you know, having just some character to it. I don't want it just to be too much like, you know, kind of just bad looking or whatever or something like that. So far, actually, what we have here, honestly, is pretty good. It's not really the best, of course, but it's like, it's there. It's there, you know. So yeah, here right now, you know, we sort of have this sort of like thing happening with this sort of page. Maybe just put that somewhere here. Just adding a little bit of element to it, you know. A lot of designing is really just playing around, you know, until something just clicks. Like I see the biggest downfall of a lot of designers I've been seeing, like on whenever I go on like Reddit or whatever and look at other people's designs and stuff, is they spend a large portion of time trying to look for that, you know, they spend a long time trying to look for, what's the word I'm trying to think about? Yeah, passion. They spend a long time trying to look for inspiration and everything. But honestly, the best way to sort of get inspiration and to sort of try to figure out what you're going to be doing is actually just playing around, you know, just kind of like just you know, not really spending too much time, you know, in your mind and stuff. Like just like you see right here, I'm just playing around with the logo and stuff, and I actually kind of like that overlay look a little bit, but it is kind of hard to see as it does blend in, so I might just keep it as a regular thing here and everything. So far what we have is actually pretty good. It's not the best. It's not like anything I would like, you know, pay thousands of dollars for, and that's me doubting myself right now. It may look actually fantastic and everything, but at the same time I'm still just kind of like that's one thing that I battle with as well, is, you know, just trying to like, you know, believe in myself in a way, and to also, you know, not get too like obsessed with what I'm doing or whatever, just sort of trying to have fun with it, you know. We can maybe put this in here. I don't know, like I said, just playing around with it, you know, just like not thinking too deep into it, just kind of like just playing around, see what happens, put things down on the screen or whatever that may be, you know, pretty cool or whatever. You know, don't just spend, you know, every single second or day trying to figure out, you know, what's the best use case of it and everything. So yeah, so far this design right here is pretty good. I honestly, I could definitely see it as something as maybe somebody would definitely be happy with, potentially. It's not the best, it's not like, you know, fantastic or whatever, but part of this challenge is really not, you know, trying to be the best or anything, but just practicing, repetition, because that's the way that you're going to improve in this career field, is just repetition, repetition, repetition. Don't spend too much time, you know, practicing everything in the world and everything, but just spend time practicing one specific thing until you really get good at it. And that's essentially what I'm practicing here. So essentially, I do kind of like the way that this looks a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's pretty okay. It's not the best or anything, but it sort of just gets the point across, if that makes sense. Maybe just turn this a little bit, you know, maybe make it a little bit more higher or whatever. I want to get lined up and everything, have everything sort of just lined up and all that. So yeah, essentially, so we went from, you know, our wireframing, our preparation of what is it for, who is it for, where does it live and everything, asking, you know, some different things, getting our project briefing, all the way to our, you know, technically final design. And always remember this too, even if you think something is a final design, clients will always 9 times out of 10 ask you to revise something or change something, even if it's something as little as just changing the font of the text, right? And the font that I use a lot is just IBM Plex Sans condensed. I find it to be a really, you know, fabulous font. It just looks professional, just looks clean and sleek and everything. One thing that I could change a little bit is just the spacing of this font. You know, that's very important as well. You learn that in logo design too. But, you know, sort of spacing your characters a little bit, you know, because if somebody is, let's say, if I'm looking out far away, like I got a little tiny iPhone screen, I'm trying to look out. If everything is condensed, like if I just have that or whatever, it may be a little difficult to see the actual wordings and stuff. Like if you see like I and L sort of like kind of blend in together. So having that spacing, um, where now you can definitely tell, you know, the I and L are a little bit apart, is very important when you also have your text and everything as well. It's just a sort of little tidbit for you and everything that I learned while I was also learning logo design and everything back in the day. So anyways, this is our sort of, I wouldn't necessarily say final product, but this is sort of our design that we would send over to the client and see if they approve of it, if they like it. You know, if they don't like it, they'll tell us to maybe change up the colors. Like maybe I can actually do that real quick, actually. So we'll probably just change up the colors a little bit here. Change this to white, or all of the text to white, because this is sort of getting in the way. If I can even click, I mean, come on now. All right, there we go. I don't think I can change the color of this a little bit. Maybe I can. I don't know. We'll see here. No, I don't think I can change the color or whatever up here. But we'll just imagine that these are white too. So I can see that, you know, maybe changing up the colorway a little bit, you know, could definitely benefit, you know, the client. If we just, you know, kind of just go back a little bit to our previous one. I do kind of like the way this looks right now. So yeah. So yeah, that concludes the day one of this little designing thing. Tomorrow I may actually do, you know, I may do mood boarding, or I may do site mapping. Just show sort of the process of that. So anyways, this has been Samael Musgrove, and I will see you guys later.